Hi, it's Reverend Chris Taylor here, and as you know, we're starting a new book in the Railway series by the Reverend W. Awdry, and today's book is called Tank Engine Thomas Again, and we'll be with that for a few stories. And today's story is called Thomas and the Guard. There's a nice picture of Thomas on his branch line, looking very pleased with himself, and there's a church in the background. Thomas the Tank Engine is very proud of his branch line. He thinks it's the most important part of the whole railway. He has 2 coaches. They are old and need new paint, but he loves them very much. He calls them Annie and Clarabel. Annie can only take passengers, but Clarabel can take passengers, luggage and the guard. As they run backwards and forwards along the line, Thomas sings them little songs, and Annie and Clarabel sing too. When Thomas starts from a station, he sings, "Oh, come along, we're rather late. Oh, come along, we're rather late." And the coaches sing, "We're coming along, we're coming along." They don't mind what Thomas says to them because they know he's trying to please the Fat Controller. And they know too that if Thomas is cross, he's not cross with them. He's cross with the engines on the main line who have made him late. There they are. Coming along, they're coming along. Thomas puffing away at the front. One day they had to wait for Henry's train. It was late. Thomas was getting crosser and crosser. "How can I run my line properly if Henry's always late? He doesn't realise that the Fat Controller depends on me." He whistled impatiently. At last Henry came. "Where have you been, lazybones?" asked Thomas crossly. "Oh dear, my system is out of order. No one understands my case. You don't know what I suffer," moaned Henry. "Rubbish," said Thomas. "You're too fat. You need exercise." I don't think Henry looks very fat, do you? Well, there you go. Lots of people with piles of luggage got out of Henry's train, and they all climbed into Annie and Clarabel. Thomas had to wait till they were ready, when at last the guard blew his whistle, and Thomas started at once. The guard turned to jump into his van, tripped over an old lady's umbrella, and fell flat on his face. By the time he'd picked himself up, Thomas and Annie and Clarabel were steaming out of the station. Can you see the guard waving his umbrella? Waving his flag. There they go. Come along, puffed Thomas. But Clarabel didn't want to come. "I've lost my nice guard, she sobbed. Annie tried to tell Thomas, We haven't a guard, but he was hurrying and wouldn't listen. Oh, come along, he puffed impatiently. Annie and Clarabel tried to put on their brakes, but they couldn't without their guard. Where is our guard? They cried. Thomas didn't stop till they came to a signal. Look at that. There's the guard running along behind. Lovely little picture that, isn't it? Bother that signal, said Thomas. What's the matter? I don't know, said his driver. The guard'll tell us in a minute. They waited and waited, but the guard didn't come. Where is the guard? Whistled Thomas. We've left him behind, sobbed Annie and Clarabel together. The driver, the fireman, and the passengers looked, and there was the guard, running as fast as he could along the line, with his flags in one hand and his whistle in the other. Everybody cheered him. He was very hot, so he sat down, had a drink, and told them all about it. I'm sorry, Mr. Guard, said Thomas. Wasn't your fault, Thomas. It was the old lady's umbrella. Look, the signal is down. Let's make up for lost time. Annie and Clarabel were so pleased to have their guard again that they sang "As fast as you like, as fast as you like" to Thomas all the way, and they reached the end of the line quicker than ever before. The end.